Hey everybody, I'm back with another video, and in this video I am going to cover my SPR DMR build that I initially did a parts list video on. I am going to cover the purpose of my build, parts overview, how to shoot, the ammo I tested, and what the results of that were, and my final thoughts on the overall build. To include the glass, which I'll just briefly touch on. But let's go. So the purpose of the build was just to round off my collection. I have a 10.5 pistol, AR pistol. I have two 14.5s, one by LWRC piston driven. I have my wife's BCM. I have a Ruger AR-556 and 16-inch barrel, and I wanted to have a DMR SPR setup. And I originally bought the barrel to swap out on my Ruger, but I decided that once I had a few parts, I'll just order everything and then build it. Now I have stripped other ARs down before and put them back together, but this is my first legitimate build from the ground up, and I'm very excited about it. So that's it. I hope that I get to run this in a few classes. I tend to take as many classes as I can a year, and I'm hoping to get another DMR type course or intermediate range course that I have taken in the past, and in that case I just used my LWRC at 14.5 inch barrel gun, and I did really well, so much so that I was keeping up with guys that were running bolt action with a lot larger glass than I had. I was just strictly running a 3x9, and I was making consistent hits on 10-inch steel out to 547 yards. So, but it's not what you want to do with a 14.5 inch barrel. Hence why I wanted one of these. And where I live now, out in northern PA, I can do that, in some of the places that I go to. So that covers the purpose of it, and let's move on to the parts. So start from the front parts. VG6 Epsilon muzzle brake. Love this brake. It's kind of one of those deals where it does a little bit of compensating, braking, and flash reduction, and it does very well at all three of them. I have some shooting video from earlier today, and if I can find a way to edit it together on this video, I will publish it that way so that you can see just how soft it shoots. I mean, it was just, I was so surprised. Moving on, this is a Ballistic Advantage Performance Series Ops 12. So that means it has this little shelf here for the OpSync suppressor that was originally used on the first iterations of the Army's DMR or the Mark 12, and it is a SPR profile barrel, 18-inch in length, and it is a rifle length gas system. I really like this barrel. It looks quality from everything I could see down the bore. There was nothing that looked like it would cause any problems with accuracy. It's not chrome lined. It is nitrided, so you get a little bit of longevity. I mean, you get longevity with the chrome line stuff, but the issue I have with chrome line is that if it's not applied correctly, you get high and low spots. And chrome is very hard, so it takes a while to work those areas out. Sometimes it causes major issues with the barrel. So I prefer the nitrided way or method of going about this. So moving on, we have the AIM Sports 15-inch free flow M-Lock handguard. I really like this handguard. I think that it does everything that pretty much your BCMs or Midwest Industries are going to do, and at a quarter of the cost, probably even less than that. And unless you're an operator and you're putting together something that you're going to use, and it's going to take a beating or your potential IEDs or whatever the case, I see no real reason to go for that unless you just want it. It's just completely fine. If they, the Geisley rails were $300 and something, I probably wouldn't that way. But for the price, the quality, the anti-rotational tabs, the steel barrel nut, it's just a great buy. I know AIM Sports doesn't really have a good reputation for stuff, but their rails have been spot on for me. I have another one that's key mod on my Ruger, and it works no different. It's been spot on. So moving on to the receiver set. Upper and lower receiver is Air Precision M4E1. Upper receiver is a direct thread. It doesn't have their proprietary barrel nut that's integrated, which is what I prefer because I like going with my preferred handguard. I don't want to be limited to just Air Precision. It's not that I have a problem with their stuff, but I'm not a big fan of some of the aesthetics of their handguards. So the bolt carry group is from Expo Arms, fully nickel boron. It's got your your staking is done properly. Everything looks really good on it, and so far it's performed flawlessly. I have no issues with it. Upper kit. The upper parts kit is from Rise Armament, and everything goes together really well. It's just a mil-spec kit, and it's really good. It was fairly cheap. I heard really good things about Rise Armament, so I went with that route. Lower parts kit is from Air Precision. It is the MOE kit with the MOE trigger guard and the grip. When I got the kit from Primary Arms, it was missing the bolt for the pistol grip, and it was missing the entire trigger control group and the springs. So contacted them. They immediately contacted Air Precision within like an hour, and then Air Precision reached out to me about 6 hours later, maybe a little bit less than that, and they already had my replacement parts in shipping. So phenomenal customer service from both parties. The trigger harness is a POF USA, and it is a 3.5 pound single stage trigger with the flat trigger bow, and I really like this. I have it on another gun, and that's why I went with it on this. I felt like it would fit what I needed to do. 3.5 pounds would be light enough that I can make accurate shots without the weight of the trigger having an effect on accuracy, but heavy enough that you don't have to worry about double taps, inadvertent double taps if you don't hold that trigger to the rear. And I've had it happen to me with other triggers, so you can even have it happen with this one. I did on my Ruger when just lightly pressing it, and I sent about 3 rounds down range. It sounded like I was running something on 3-round bursts, but that was just me not really doing what I should be doing, pulling that trigger and then holding back. But great trigger. I love it, and I do recommend them. Pistol grip is the Bravo Company Mod 3. It's got that nice beaver tail, so you get a nice high grip. And I love the grip angle, the grip texture. It's very comfortable in the hand, and I like these. I like these actually more than I do the Magpul offerings, and I have quite a few Magpul stuff. So the one thing I did want to cover on this lower is that I found that there was what I'm assuming to be a piece of drill bit stuck in this channel here for the spring and detent for the pivot pin, because I could only get in about 1/4 of an inch. And after digging around in there with a pick and then shining my light down there, I could see a bunch of rust and something blocking it up. So all I did, because I didn't feel like having to strip this back down and driving 40 minutes down to my buddy's shop to have him do the swap on it and everything, I just cut the spring down to size and detent installed with with the pivot pin, and it feels no different. It feels no different if it was the full leg spring. So I'm just going to let that ride as it is. I have no intention to take this back apart at any time, so I don't care. Lockup is awesome, by the way. It's so tight of a lockup that even though it comes with the tension screw for upper and lower receiver lockup, I don't even use it. When I take it apart, I have to, or put it back together, I have to squeeze the upper and lower together and push the pin out. There's no wobble, no nothing, no light through it whatsoever. Yeah, I'm not seeing any light through it when I look. So I really like this set, and I think in my next build, I'm definitely going to continue to go with this. So the charging handle, Strike Industries, very nice. See if I could lock this back. So you can see it's just got the protruding lever on the left side, which is fine because I'm right-handed, so I don't really need it to be ambidextrous. And I think it's right on par with BCM's Gunfighter charging handles, except it's a lot cheaper. The buffer tube is from CMC Triggers. It comes as a kit, so it's the buffer tube, the castle nut, which comes with the end plate with the QD mount, which is really, really nice. It comes with a spring and the buffer. I'm not exactly sure what weight the buffer is. It's just a standard carbine, H1. I know it's not an H2, but I swapped it out, put Expo Arms H2 buffer in there, and the recoil impulse on this thing is just insanely light. I really like it. Only downside to this tube is there's a rib on the inside, like a little ridge, and when you charge it, you'll hear this like shing back and forth, and it is annoying. I don't know if you can hear that. I don't notice it when I shoot, but God, this thing annoys the hell out of me when I charge this. So I don't know if I'm going to eventually change this out for the JP Silent Capture, or I'm just going to let it ride and deal with it. But because the whole purpose of this was supposed to be a budget build, so I can build something, you know, within a certain price range, but have the highest quality parts that I can acquire. Moving on to the buttstock. Buttstock is the Bravo Company Mod Zero, and it doesn't have the enhanced or the more defined cheek weld, which I wanted to have on this one. I have a Bravo a B5 solid mod stock, not the enhanced, and I really love those stocks, but the way this thing locks up, there's zero movement whatsoever. I think I might be going to these stocks from now on instead of the Bravo. Unless the Bravos are on sale. I still love those stocks, but this is becoming my favorite. On top, I have 2.5 cantilever scope mount from Vortex, and the glass is Primary Arms Gold Series GLX4, 2.5 to 10 by 44, and it has the Griffin Mill reticle, which I absolutely love. This glass has been phenomenal at every range trip that I've been on, and once you get your diopter set to your eye, this thing is just so nice, man, and it takes whatever platform you're putting it on to the next level. But I don't want to dig too deep into this because I already have another follow-up video on this. But the only other thing I have to do is a tracking test on this, and I will do it eventually, just not anytime soon, because I don't really have a whole lot of time, and it's just a process doing your track time, setting up, you know, and going on from there. So moving on to how to shoot. It is the softest AR I've ever shot. Now, I've shot plenty of 20-inch ARs when I was in the Army. That's what I qualified initially on, the basic training M16A2s. But this thing, man, the way it's set up, with the heavy buffer spring, the 18-inch barrel, having a rifle link gas system, it is super, super soft. And I have some video of me shooting this where it shows the recoil. And if I can figure out how to edit this to put that video into it, I will. I'll just throw it in at the end of the video if I can, or maybe even right around this area, and then go from there. But if not, I just didn't figure it out. So I don't know anything about video editing. I'm sure I could figure it out. Pretty savvy guy, but again, I don't have a whole lot of time to do all that stuff, especially with the family and me just getting back from a 3-month trip overseas. So that's where we're at. Ammo testing. I ran 5 different rounds to this. I ran American Eagle XM193, Freedom Munitions XM193 remands. I ran Fiocchi 55 grain, Australian Outback 69 grain Sierra Match Kings, and Black Hill 69 grain Sierra Match Kings. Now, in the first 2 or 3 outings, I just was not shooting very well. I know the 2 previous to this morning's outing, it was pretty much me and my wife just going to the range to have some fun, work on pistols. She just got a Glock 26. I got her a bunch of upgraded parts from Hive Industries and Hive Technologies, and aside from the sights, she put everything else together herself, and then wanted to go to the range and shoot and get more comfortable with the Glock 26. And so we spent most of the time on pistol range for probably about 2.5 hours prior to me trying to shoot groups. I don't have the results from my first outing. I don't know where I placed them, but they were just 3-round groups, and those were only two 3-round groups of Australian Outback and 2 3-round groups of Black Hills, and they were both hovering, about 1.25 inches, I want to say, maybe a little bit more. But that day, man, I was shaking because I was out there for so long. It was 20 degrees outside and snowy. Just wasn't really good shooting conditions. The last one that I went to, which was yesterday, me and my wife went to the range in the same situation, about 2.5 hours on that range. Went to shoot on the rifle range to see what I get with some of the loads. And at least this time, for the XM193, I kept all the rounds on paper. But seriously, XM193, out of every gun that I've ever fired, American Eagle XM193 just is crap, and it never shoots. So I will show you. These are my groups from yesterday. I didn't even bother measuring them because I was kind of annoyed with it. So this is just garbage. Here you have your Freedom Munitions 193. That's not looking too bad. Surprisingly, 193, the Freedom Munitions, their reman stuff, has been pretty damn accurate out of every gun that I fired it out, surprisingly. Because typically 193 isn't very accurate at all. And shooting 55 grain out of a 1-7 twist tends to be not as accurate as, say, a 1-8. Right here, this is the Fiocchi 55 grain. Again, you'll have 3 together and then 1 and then 1. And the same thing happened earlier today, but I didn't buy that ammo for precision use. That's strictly if I'm going to a class or anything like that, just pointing at the range or whatnot. And then we had right here is Australian Outback 69 grain. I expected that to do better. That was pretty much on par with the Freedom Munitions 193, and then the Black Hills 69 grain Sierra Match Kings, which I thought would do the best considering it's Black Hills, and just wasn't happy with that. So I came back from the range yesterday. racking my brain on what the hell's going on. Eventually, I let it go, and then decided to come back to the rifle and just look it over, and I noticed that my diopter wasn't set correctly to my eye. I have really good vision, but I have an issue with the astigmatism, so it's weird. I still get 20/20 vision when I do my vision tests, but sometimes I see double, or it'll be like a overlapping, weird thing, and with red dots, it's pretty bad. I get like a real bad starburst effect. Yeah, I even talking to my wife about that. I tried to draw out what I was seeing on a red dot, and she said it looked like plankton from freaking SpongeBob. So that goes to show you how bad my astigmatism can be. But anyway, I got my diopter set correctly, marked it, and I said, you know what, I'm going back to the range tomorrow morning. So I went today. First thing in the morning, it was actually really nice today. It was about 49 degrees. There was quite a bit of fog, but it wasn't consistent. It would be a fog for a few minutes, then lighten up, then come back again and lighten up. The wind must have been maybe 3 miles an hour, and it was at my, to my back. So no issues whatsoever with that as far as horizontal stringing, as it affects from the wind. So these are my results from today. Again, absolutely atrocious from XM193 American Eagle. But then you move over here, and this is a Free Munitions 193, XM193. This is typically what I see out of most of my guns with 193, and it's why I've gone with Freedom Munitions for so long, because they were some of the cheapest, but they shot some of the best. Maybe that's just my luck, but that's what it's been. So moved on to Fiocchi, same thing. My first one was high, my second one was low, and then the last three were right here. I really don't care, because I don't plan on shooting Fiocchi out of this gun. What I plan on shooting is the Australian Outback. Now, I do have the numbers written here. For Freedom Munitions, this was 0.75 MOA. I used an app on my phone. It's a ballistic. It calculates the shot groups. I forget the name of the app, but you put what size your target was, and then what ammo you're using, and then you highlight all the rounds, and it calculates the size of your group. And it was 0.75. Fiocchi was... I didn't even bother doing Fiocchi. I didn't bother doing American Eagle either. American Eagle, that's like 4.5 inches. This one's like 3.5. But Australian Outback right here, that came out to 0.97. I know I can tighten that up. That's just me. But that seems to be shooting, and that vertical stringing right there, that's me. That's me. It's not controlling my breathing. And that's it. And then right here, Black Hills, the same thing. Looks like it shot a little bit better, but it's actually a wider group, and it shot at 1.14. So my goal for this was to get it to shoot MOA. I felt MOA was going to be the best for practical accuracy, out to 600 yards, 700 yards with this platform. And I'm very happy with it. The Australian Outback, I may adjust that down 1/10 of a mil on the scope for final zero, but I'm going to go ahead and probably do another 3 or 4 of this of the Australian Outback and just confirm that group. Yeah, so my final thoughts on this rifle. Yeah, I love it, man. It's so soft shooting. It looks really, really nice. Every time I've been at the range, guys, I can see them taking a look at it, and everybody goes up there with their ARs and stuff. But I think that with the way this looks, people were attracted to it. So, And I don't blame him because I think it looks really nice. I think the build itself came out really nice, and it wouldn't matter who did the build. It just looks really, really good. So I'm going to try a few more loads on this, some 77s, some 75s, whenever I can get some of that ammo in and see how that shoots. But as of right now, my goal was to run 69 grains air magically so I could keep some more of that velocity as opposed to 77 grain for really reaching out and touching something at like 700 yards. It'll be fine with 77s, but this is what I ordered. I got a really good deal on this ammo. They were doing through Global Ordnance, buy one, get one. So the cases were 200 rounds. If you bought one case, you got an extra case for free. If you bought 4 cases, you got 4 cases for free. So I should have bought more of it, but this is what I went with. So I have 500 rounds of that. And I really, really, really like this gun. I'm going to continue to shoot this over the course of the next few weeks and then see how much better I get with it. But I love it, man. It was my first AR build, and I had so much fun doing it. Absolutely love it, and I can't wait to go out and shoot it again. Alright guys, thanks for watching the video. If you got any constructive criticism or how I can make the video better, please leave a comment down in the comment section. And if there's anything you want to know extra about the build or any of the components on this, give me a shout out in the comment section and I will respond. Alright? Have a good day.